Namaskar, my farmer brothers and sisters, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a huge problem, one that might be eating away at your harvest and your profits. But the best part is, we're going to fight it with a solution you can make right there on your own farm.
Just look at that number, 50%. It's shocking, isn't it? Up to half of all your hard work can be completely wiped out by tiny pests. And what do we usually do? We spray expensive chemicals, right? But you know the story, the pests just seem to come back, often even stronger, and our costs just keep going up and up. It's a frustrating cycle. So, let me ask you, does this story sound a little too familiar? The constant spraying, the rising costs, and that feeling of frustration when you see those same insects back just a few days later? Well, today, we are going to break that cycle. We're going to dive deep into something called AgniAstra. It's powerful, it's based on real science, and it's completely organic.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Think of AgniAstra as a weapon that you forge from your very own land. The name itself literally means fire weapon. And for pests, believe me, that's exactly what it is. It's a force that drives them away without doing any harm to your crops or your soil.
Now, the most important word to remember here is repellent. This is not some harsh poison that kills everything in its path. No, AgniAstra works by making your plants a really unpleasant place for pests to be. It irritates them, it confuses them, and it basically makes them lose their appetite. So they just leave. And naturally, their numbers start to drop.
I mean, this slide really says it all, doesn't it? It shows the powerful choice you have. On one side, you've got expensive chemicals that can create a dead field. They kill the good life in your soil, and they're toxic. But on the other side, you have AgniAstra. It costs next to nothing, it actually helps improve your soil, it's a 100% safe for you and your family, and it leaves the good guys, like our bees, completely alone.
So who are we going after? Well, AgniAstra is really effective against a whole bunch of the usual troublemakers. It works wonders on those sucking pests, aphids, whiteflies, mealybugs, the whole gang. And it's also great for tackling leaf eaters like small caterpillars and even some borers, especially if you catch them early on. All right, let's get to the good part, how you actually make this stuff. And you are going to be surprised by just how simple this is. These are ingredients you probably have on your farm right now, and you don't need any fancy or expensive equipment to do it. Every single ingredient here has a very specific job. The chilies, they bring the fire, that powerful irritation. The garlic has a strong smell that acts as a repellent. And neem is incredible. It not only repels pests, but it also messes with their growth cycle. Then there's cow urine, which is a fantastic base and disinfectant. Now, if you can't get it, don't worry, you can still make a very effective batch without it. The whole process is just 4 simple steps. First, you crush your ingredients up into a paste. Second, you mix that paste into a drum with water and cow urine. Third, you cover it and let it sit in the shade for a day or two to get nice and strong. And finally, and listen up because this is the most critical part, you have to filter it very, very well through a cloth. If you skip this, you're going to block your sprayer nozzle and nobody wants that headache.
And using it is just as easy. For a standard 15-liter spray pump, you just need about 1 liter of your filtered AgniAstra solution. Pour that in and fill the rest with water. And here's a great little tip. Right before you start spraying, add about 10 to 20 mLs of liquid soap. The soap acts like a sticker, helping the solution spread out and stick to the leaves for much better coverage.
So let's talk for a minute about the simple science behind this. This isn't magic, and it's not just some old tale. This is nature's own defense system at work. And when you understand why it works, you'll have so much more confidence in what you're doing.
The power from the chilies comes from what makes them hot, a compound called capsaicin. For a tiny insect, that heat is an overwhelming irritation. It makes the leaf so unpleasant that they just stop feeding and have to move away. It's incredibly simple, but it is so effective.
And what about the garlic? Well, we all know that powerful smell. For a lot of pests, that smell is a huge keep-away sign. It confuses them, it messes up their activity, and it makes it much harder for them to even find your plants in the first place. And this is where the genius of neem really shines. This bitter compound inside it is a triple threat. First, it makes the leaves taste awful, so pests stop eating. But it also gets absorbed and messes with their entire life cycle. It slows their growth and stops them from laying eggs. So you're not just fighting today's pests, you're fighting the next generation too. Okay, so making AgniAstra is really only half the battle. Using it the right way, that's what's going to guarantee your success. So let's quickly go over some simple rules to make sure you get the absolute best results possible. Let's start with what not to do. These are the common mistakes to avoid. First, never spray in the hot afternoon sun. You could burn the leaves. Second, and I know I've said it before, but it's that important, filter it well. Third, don't get tempted to make the dose stronger thinking it'll work better. It can actually stress your plants. And finally, never mix this with chemical pesticides.
Okay, now for the best practices. Always do a small test spray on just a few plants first to see how they react. The best time to spray is always early in the morning or late in the evening when it's cool. And here is the real secret to success. Make sure you spray under the leaves. That's where most of these pests hide out. If you only spray the top, you're wasting all your effort.
And let's just be honest here for a second. Natural farming wins because of intelligence and good timing, not with brute force. AgniAstra isn't a poison that kills instantly. It works by making your farm a hostile place for pests. So the key is to use it early and often for prevention or at the very first sign of an attack. Don't wait until the problem gets huge.
This quote really says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the two most important benefits for any farmer. It's a powerful fire that burns the pests away from your crops, and at the same time, it keeps you from burning money on expensive chemicals. It puts that money right back in your pocket.
So now, I really want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments below, what are you growing and which pest is giving you the most trouble on your farm? And if you found this useful, please do me a favor and share this knowledge with at least 5 other farmers you know. One correct method, when shared, can save so many from debt and despair. Make sure to subscribe so you can learn more about other solutions like Brahmastra and Jivamruta. Thank you for watching. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan.